When I started my business, it was in summer of 2017, and I think I remember the first time we met, you had me, or prior to me meeting you, you had me write out my values and like kind of figuring out like what things are important to me. And then I think that kind of led into goals, if I remember right.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember our first conversation because you were just like, what am I doing? Like you were great at what you do, right? Selling cars and making contacts and having those relationships.
Yeah.
But like the business behind it, you were just like a freight train, you know, you were really great at that, but we needed some structure around it.
How could you describe to someone how to figure out your values or what like values are?
Great question. And it's about like what fills you up. I mean, think about your values, right? When you're getting your values in, kind of puts that warm feeling in your heart, puts a smile on your face, sometimes gives you goosebumps because it's truly what like energizes you and creates like passion within you.
Yeah.
So when you think about what are your values, you go to those moments, you reflect on like yesterday or last week or last year and go, what was the last thing that really like made me joyful, that put a smile on my face? And people can usually pull those memories forward and go, oh, it's when I'm outside in nature, or it's when I'm with my family, or maybe it's when I'm kicking butt at work and getting a lot of sales. Because those are all values. So when you are getting your values in, you have that really great feeling. And so when you look back at those moments, your values are in there.
No, I love that. And I think something that I didn't realize is like having my values helped me to figure out like what my goals were. For someone who's starting out, trying to figure out who they are or where they want to go. How many values would you say at least to kind of like hit on? Like, is it like 5 good values, 10 good values, and then how does that lead into goals? Can you kind of explain that?
Absolutely, you're right on with like 5 to 10 values. I usually say around 7. Because when we think about those values, it has to be an amount that we can actually get in every day. So if we have like 20 values, it's going to feel like too much. So usually around that 7 mark. And then when you think about it, I always say your values are the soul behind your goal.
You never told me that. I love that.
Yes.
Okay, so your values are the soul behind your goal.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You know, like,
that's so true.
Right?
Yeah, that is actually really true. Okay.
If you don't tie it to that, then sometimes you don't reach those goals because you're like, what am I doing this for?
Because you don't value it.
Right.
Yeah,
like,
that makes complete sense.
And salespeople can get into that rut all the time where they're just like, I want to do, $1 million in production. I want to do 10 million in production. And they're just pulling these numbers out of thin air. Or just to accomplish something, when really if you don't have that value behind it, like, is it going to create financial freedom? Is it going to put my kids through college? Is it going to provide stability and security? Like, what is it doing for you? Then you don't have that motivation and that soul behind it.
So I don't know the best way to put it, and maybe you can put it in a better way, but I'm kind of what I'm pulling from this and what I've learned from you is that I'm good at sales. I know that's my passion. I know that I have value in that. And once someone has, value and passion for a specific, job that they're doing, no matter what industry, it's good just to strictly focus on that instead of pulling from your environment other people's tasks or things that don't really serve your job that you're focusing on, because then you can get overwhelmed and almost like lose the happiness in what you're doing, and I guess not as successful to be able to move up or to be able to make more money, like if it's sales.
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it perfectly. It's that passion piece, right? And if you're pursuing your passion, the growth is going to come, the money's going to come, the sales are going to come, the promotion's going to come if you work for a company and you're not in sales. So that is where you should be focusing your energy. The other pieces, are probably better served by somebody else if you're not passionate about it, or if it isn't really where you shine the most, right?
What piece of advice would you give to someone that has value, has goals, has kind of all that set, but maybe they're like in a work environment that is not serving them well and it's maybe more toxic? Is there like any piece of advice you could give to someone like that?
I would say that if you want to stay in that environment, like you like the job, but the environment is toxic and you want people to change, you have to be the light, right? I mean, It's not always easy being the leader and the light, but people really do change around that. I mean, you're a great example of that. You constantly share your faith. And we've even talked about, right, putting on some worship music in the middle of a hard day and taking a little break and what that does. So I would encourage people to be that light, right? When somebody's complaining, I tell people to go, that sounds hard. What are you going to do about it? You know, get them into a place of action instead of complaining or instead of being negative. If you're starting and you want some direction on like where you're going and setting your goals, first understand your values. Figure out those 5 to 7 things that are most important to you that fill you up. Those have got to be your foundation. Right? And then once you know those, you can think about like, what do I want to celebrate at the end of this year, at the end of this quarter, whatever it may be from a goal perspective. Once you figure out what you may want to celebrate, check those with the values. Does this make sense? Am I on the right track here? And if you are, then you've kind of got that foundation and something that you're shooting for.
Yeah, you've helped me change my perspective on my personal life, but also my career, my goals, my values. Like I was able to like really figure that out, which it's hard to do no matter what age. So
it is.
I appreciate you.
Oh, I love working with you. Week after week, we have a good time together.
We do.
Yeah.
A lot of fun too.
A lot.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.